All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Welcome, Adrian and Kaden. All right, so I'm actually going to be making fish and chips. We're going to do oven fried fish and oven fried French fries. And we're also going to make a homemade tartar sauce to go with everything. If by chance we have any other joiners, I'll try to catch them up to what we're doing. And of course, if you have any questions, just let me know as we go. So I'm actually going to start with turning my oven to 450 degrees because anytime we are oven frying, we got to get that temperature pretty high. And my oven takes a little bit to preheat, so I am starting that from now. And I am trying to limit all the dishes that we use. So the storage bag is our friend today, okay? So the very first thing we're gonna do is our cod fish. The first bag is just gonna have 3 eggs in it. And again, I try not to use many dishes. Otherwise, I would be throwing the eggs in a bowl, scrambling them a little bit with a fork. But Sunday is a day for rest, so I'm actually gonna do it all in a sandwich baggie. All right, so put the eggs in the bag. And you should have cod fish. You could have used the frozen kind or the regular fresh kind. Either way, the instructions were to make sure you drain it completely, dry it completely, and that'll save us from having mushy fish in the end. So I'm actually gonna throw the fish in the bag with the egg, and we're gonna leave it there for a second while we work on the other part of our coating. So you could definitely give it a little mix. The fish in the bag, set that aside. Grab another bag, another storage bag. Grab your breadcrumbs. And within this second bag, I'm gonna put 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs in there. I'm actually using a 1/2 cup measure, so it's gonna look like I'm adding way more than I actually am, but trust me when I say I'm just putting in 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs. Okay, I'll be adding more stuff, but for the sake of time, because eventually we're gonna brown the fish before we put them in the oven, we're gonna brown them in a saute pan for just a little bit, not too much. So let's add just a little bit of oil to the bottom of our pan. I'd say it really depends on the amount of fish that you have, but really you just want to coat the bottom of the pan because again, we're simply just creating a brown crust on the fish. We don't plan on deep frying the fish, so quite simply, small amount. And I'm gonna turn my heat on to a medium high because I don't want it to get too hot that it instantly burns our fish as soon as I put it in. Okay, so I have my fire going. Now I'm gonna continue my breading mix. So I got the 1.5 cups of breadcrumbs in there. I'm gonna add the same amount of yellow corn meal. So 1.5 cups yellow corn meal. I'm already making a mess, don't worry. It'll be taken care of at the end. 1.5 cup cornmeal. Let me give that a little bit of mix before I add the remaining ingredients. And really, by the way, this amount that I'm making is enough for about 6 codfish fillets. I personally am just making 3, but we're doing the recipe in case everyone got what was needed. Okay. Next, we're going to add just a teaspoon of salt. And at the end, you could always add more, but we don't want to overdo it because some of these ingredients already have their own natural salt. So we don't want to overpower the dish. This is the joy of using a bag. You get to mix everything up in there. Okay. Now, lemon pepper. We need 1.5 teaspoons of lemon pepper. And again, I'm using a half teaspoon measure, so that's why it looks like I'm adding more than needed. And then the very last thing to our bag is gonna be garlic powder, which, here we go. And we're gonna add the same amount of garlic powder, which is 1.5 teaspoons to our bag. Okay, I could smell that oil. It's not to where I need it to be, but it's getting there. Good thing we started early. My oven is still preheating, which is perfect because it'll give me time to brown these cod. Okay, so that's our bread in the bag. That's our coating for the fish. So it's quite simple. We are gonna take the fish out of the egg mixture one by one. Try your best not to drip anything. Try your best not to drip too much eggs within the bread mixture because it's gonna turn into something sort of like Play-Doh, I should say. All right. So got my first fish in the bag. I'm gonna coat it just a little bit with that bread mixture. I'm gonna get my second fish in the bag, coat it a little bit, and get my last fish in the bag. Now, if you all follow the grocery list, you probably have way more fish than I, but I'm just cooking for one, so I'm just doing the 3 fish. So I shake the bag up, shake, shake, shake. Make sure that the fish gets completely coated with our breadcrumb and cornmeal mixture. Okay, let me take a look. Oh yeah, I think it looks good. I'm gonna remove the fish from the bag and set it down on my container. Okay. Now, is my oil ready? I usually do a test to see if my oil is ready by putting just a pinch of my breading in there to see how it reacts to the oil. And it actually started frying to what I think means that the oil is hot enough to add our fish. So let me go ahead and try to get my camera down to my pan so you see what I'm doing. Oh, let's go a little bit lower. Okay, so I have my 3 pieces of fish. Gonna add it to my oil in my pan. And again, we are simply just trying to get a brown our fish. So I'm not gonna cook the fish completely in this pan. It's all about just getting that brown, crispy outside. And then we're gonna throw the fish in the oven so that it could finish cooking that way. Because if you followed any of my classes before, you know that I try to use the oven as much as possible. We try to keep everything healthy, which is why after we get the fish in the oven, we'll be working on French fries that's done a non-traditional way, but it's still gonna come out super yummy because it's going in the oven, but it's still gonna be super crispy, just like every French fry we ever had at our favorite place like McDonald's and what have you. And as you know, we always practice great hygiene in the kitchen. So as I walked away from my pan, because I was handling the raw fish, I'm actually washing my hands really quick as my fish cooks in the pan. And the fish is not gonna take too long to brown, so I know that I don't have to walk away for too long. Otherwise, we're gonna have some extra crispy fish, and not in a good way. So definitely keep your eye on the fish. When it comes to sauteing anything or browning anything, I actually don't rely on time. I rely on my eyes and my senses. So I'm gonna take a sneak peek of my fish and see where we're at. One of the pieces are actually pretty thick, so that one will take a little bit longer. See here? Sneak peek. Nope, not yet. Based on how we're looking, I'd probably guess it to be about 2 more minutes. But in the meantime, since I am going to put the fish in the oven, oops, let me see if we have it. Nope. I'm gonna grab a sheet pan, perfectly flat sheet pan. Now, this pan is what you call non-stick. So I know that as soon as I put my fish on and I put it in the oven, it's not gonna stick at all, which is awesome. It's gonna have my fish just to how I like it. But if you're using a pan that you have any doubt that it's gonna stick or the food is just gonna, just be crushed onto there, then I would say you could add just a little bit of oil spray to your pan. It's totally up to you. Now, I'm smelling my fish, I'm hearing my fish, and I know at least one of these babies are ready to flip. So here we go. Flip it over. Flip it over. These are the two smaller pieces. And as you see, what I said that we're doing is simply browning the fish, which is giving it that brown, crispy outside. We're not completely cooking the fish because that's what our oven is for. Our oven is gonna get it to where we want it to. So here we go, if you see. So I'm just gonna brown the other side of the fish. And based on how long the first side took, I would say about 3 minutes, and we will have our brown fish. And I could throw it in the oven, finish cooking it that way. And perfect timing because my oven just preheated. My oven is ready for anything I put in it. And again, that is 450 degrees on the oven temperature. While I allow those fish to brown on that side, if you have your sliced potatoes, the instruction said to get a whole potato and cut it up in pieces so that they look exactly like French fries would look. Now, because I found a huge potato, I am making super long French fries, but hey, there is nothing wrong with that. I actually drained all the water off of my potatoes so they're completely dry. And I'm gonna ask you to grab our favorite instrument, which is another storage bag, which means less cleanup. And my fish is talking to me. It is saying, hey, I think that I am browned enough. Get me out of this pan. In cooking for so long, I learned to trust the sounds of food. So I'm gonna take the fish out of the saute pan. I'm gonna put it on my baking sheet. And this thicker piece of fish, I'm actually gonna put it on the side because no matter what, I know it's gonna take longer to cook than these smaller fillets. All right, I'm gonna get my fish in the oven. And since all of us, we shop different places, some pieces of fish might be larger than others. So as a starting point, I'm gonna put 15 minutes on my timer. And basically, I'm gonna see how my fish looks after 15 minutes in the oven. And then we could just continue to increase the time. And the reason we don't go a full blown 30 minutes in the oven is because some of us, like I said, might have smaller pieces of fish and it's gonna cook a lot quicker than the bigger pieces, okay? So next, we're gonna work on our French fries. Grab that storage bag and you're gonna need olive oil. We're gonna actually put 3 tablespoons of olive oil in our bag. Okay. And I actually have a teaspoon measurer. So I know that 3 teaspoons equal 1 tablespoon. So don't mind me. As you look at me, it's going to look like I'm putting way too much oil in my bag. But just remember, my measure is a little bit off. So let's see here. And initially, I believe that the shopping list said to just do 1 potato. But you know, if you're doing more than 1 potato, which is totally fine, you just add a little bit of extra oil than I'm putting, which is the 3 tablespoons. And then we got to make sure that our potatoes are seasoned because otherwise it's going to just taste like cardboard. So to my oil, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. And if you don't have kosher salt, that's fine. But just know that kosher salt has thicker grains than the regular salt. Hopefully I could show you on the camera here. It's hard to see. But if you look, you see how thick that salt is? That's what we call kosher salt. Yeah. So that's gonna basically slowly be added as we heat our potatoes. Gonna slowly add the salty flavor to the potatoes. Whereas the regular salt that we're used to, the tiny grains, they'll like instantly hit it with salt. So it's all about slowly getting that flavor added. So here's my 1 teaspoon of kosher salt. I'm adding it to my bag of oil. But I love my French fries to have lots of flavor. So I'm also going to add 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. And if you're not big on garlic, you could just do a half a teaspoon. It's totally up to you. Garlic powder seasoning there. And here's the trick to every good French fry that not many people know of. It's called dill weed. It's a seasoning, just like pepper and salt, but it adds something extra special to French fries or any kind of potatoes. So I'm just gonna do a half a teaspoon of dill weed within that same bag. This is so easy. I am so happy that I don't have so many dishes to deal with. Everything's in the bag. And then we're just gonna do 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. And 1/4 teaspoon is like not very much at all because you don't want it to overpower our French fry. So just a little bit of onion powder. And last ingredient, this one is totally optional. I like spice. Not everyone likes spice, but if you do, you could add just a dash of black pepper, which I'm gonna add. And then I'm just gonna mix it all up in my bag. And the last thing that I'm gonna add to my bag are my potatoes, my French fries. And I consider this to be the most fun part of cooking in a bag. I ziplock, close the bag, and I shake. Woo! I try to get those potatoes covered with everything that I just put in that bag. Oil, seasonings, everything. Make sure that each potato has a little part of the seasoning, a little part of oil. And just like I put my fish on that pan, I'm gonna grab a sheet pan. And like I said, if you think that after the French fries cook, they're gonna be stuck to the pan, then you could always add aluminum foil right on top of the pan, like so. And that will help the French fries not to stick to that pan and make it very terrible to do dishes later on. Because as you know, Miss Mandy absolutely dislikes doing dishes, even though I have to sometimes. All right, so I'm gonna throw my potatoes on my sheet pan. And I'm seeing all that seasoning on it. And I'm using the bag to spread it because I don't like using my fingers too much while cooking because then I'll constantly have to keep washing my hands and what have you for the sake of being sanitary. Potatoes are in the pan and I'm gonna put it in the oven right next to my fish. And let's see how that fish is looking. All right, it's not quite done yet, even though the outside is brown. That's only because we browned it in that saute pan. So I'm gonna put my fish back in, put my potatoes in, and my timer actually says 10 more minutes for the fish. I'm gonna increase that a little bit based on looking at them. And the French fries, at least mine, are gonna take a little bit. So let me make our tartar sauce. And if you ever have tartar sauce, you know that it's sort of like a lemony, creamy sauce that you dip your fish in. You could put it on a fish sandwich, everything. So as our potatoes cook in the oven, as our fish cooks in the oven, I'm gonna make some tartar sauce. All right, so I'm just looking for my cup measurer. It's all good. I have a 1/2 cup measurer, so I'm gonna work with what I have. All right, so we wanna find mayonnaise, and I'm gonna do 1 full cup of mayonnaise in my bowl. And this one is almost finished, so luckily I have 2 containers. Okay. Come on, mayo. May have to use a spoon or something to get it out. Anyways, so you put your 1 cup of mayo in the bowl. Then I'm gonna grab my relish, which is the green stuff that you find next to pickles in the supermarket. The green stuff that no one knows what in the world do I have to do with that. Some people put it on hot dogs. I make an excellent tartar sauce out of it. So you actually just need 1/4 cup of relish. Oh, I wish oh, there we go. Almost didn't get it open. So just 1/4 cup of relish. And it's okay to use a spoon because it tends to want to tumble out of the container, giving you way more than you need. So far we got mayo, we got relish. And you remember our secret ingredient for the French fries, our dill weed, the green stuff. We're going to add just 1 teaspoon of dill weed into our mixture here. Not that much at all, because dill weed goes a lot further. Like, I'm meaning that it does not take much for it to overpower a dish. All right. And then next, we need 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. And again, whenever it comes to pepper, it's totally optional because pepper is where spiciness comes from. And if you don't like spicy, don't put too much pepper. I like spicy, so I'm going to put exactly how much it asks for. All right. And then the last ingredient is 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Now, some people would use lemon juice that comes in a bottle. And let me show you, just so you know what not to do. Well, this is actually lime juice. We do not use lemon juice in a bottle. I like fresh lemon juice, which means I'm going to grab a lemon. I'm going to slice it in half. I'm going to squeeze it until I get 1 tablespoon of lemon in my sauce. And be careful. The downside about using fresh lemon is that it has seeds in it. I just got 2 seeds in my sauce, so I'm going to scoop those out. Make sure I don't have any because that'll make for 1 crunchy big bite of sauce. Okay. And that's actually all there is to our tartar sauce. Now, I just got to give it a stir. And I'm going to try to bring it close to the camera. So this is what tartar sauce looks like. It has mayonnaise, it has relish, it has dill weed, it has fresh lemon juice, not the one out the bottle, and it has black pepper if you like black pepper. So, believe it or not, this is all that we're making today. But our French fries are definitely going to take a little bit in the oven. So, the only thing that I have that's ready right now is my fish. So I guess this means that you guys just have to stay tuned and go to my Youth Center page on Facebook to see how my French fries and everything else comes out. Because that's going to take a little bit in the oven. So for now, let me just make a plate of my fish. Just so you see how the fish part of it looks. Let me get my tartar sauce. I think I have a pretty cool dish for my tartar sauce. And whenever I am making fish, I always have a few slices of fresh lemon, just like so. So here's my plate, minus the French fries because those are still in the oven. But here's our cod fish. Here's our tartar sauce made from scratch. Here's our fresh lemon. And later on, you definitely be sure to check out my page because I'm going to show you the French fries, how they ended up coming out later on. So definitely stay tuned. I try to have a class like this every other Sunday. Now, next Sunday, I actually want to make lasagna. So just stay tuned and hopefully you guys can help me cook with that one. Have you ever ate lasagna? Do you like it? Give me a thumbs up if you like it. Yeah, I got some thumbs up there. That's awesome. So next time we're gonna make lasagna, we're gonna make a sauce from scratch, which means that it's not in a bottle like we get in the store. We're gonna make it. Thanks for that 100%. I am so happy that you love that. I can't wait to see you guys at my next class. And again, stay tuned for those pictures I'm going to post of my fish and chips that we made today. Thank you for joining. Bye.